All right, so today we're going to do a different type of episode on Guardian Approved. It's going to be called Buyer Beware, right? So as we're testing all these products, sometimes we buy products that just don't work. It could be an actual product or it could be a service or whatever. So there's been a couple things now I felt that we can make videos on that are buyer beware. So that's what we're going to do today. Today is our first episode of Buyer Beware. And what we're going to cover in this episode is the Blue Book. I don't know if you've ever seen the Blue Book. Blue Book Network. It's otherwise known as the Blue Book, the who's who in building, right? This has been around a long time, the Blue Book. I've heard of them for quite a while. A rep hit me up at one point and talked to me about getting in a Blue Book, and I did get into it. I'm still in it right now, technically. So it's the very first time I use a service. So they take you online, they show you how they, because you log into like a portal, and then it brings up all these different, everybody that has a project of bid, they'll send them out to, 3 or 4 companies and be like, hey, give us a bid on this. Most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, it's for fresh, brand new construction. And the other 10% is like renovations and things like that. So I'm not actually reviewing the Blue Book in general because I only know it from my point of view. And my point of view is as an owner of a locksmith security company. So I think this has its purpose, but I also want to make sure I make aware people that possibly could try to use their service that may be a waste of money for. So in the locksmith, it may not even be a waste of money. They may just have more than they bargained for, and I'll get into that, what I mean by that. So it's a big book. Basically, it has all different types of companies in it, and it's all divided by glass, tile, plumbers and locksmiths and door companies and window companies and pavement company, whatever, everything, because it's mostly for construction. So when you open the front of the page in here, it says a who's buyer guide, right? And it actually divides it up in these kind of sections in here. If you notice, I'm talking about our trade specific, right? Which we do access control, locksmithing work, safes, camera systems, right? The only thing covered in here is pretty much locksmithing, access control, and surveillance cameras. So those 3. So I'm going to talk about how effective the Blue Book is for those 3 trades, because those are 3 trades I can relate to, and I have personal experience with this and this book. At first, I was very excited. I was told, you're going to get access to all these projects, and they're going to come across, and you're going to be able to bid on them, and you can win your bids, and there's not even a lot of competition in here for locksmiths. It's going to be great, right? So I was like, okay, well, maybe if I land just, a couple jobs a year, it'll make it worth it, right? I ended up getting a little bit of a special rate. It ends up being around $260 a month or something like that, but it's for like their minimal package, and I kind of got a little bit of a deal with them too, to try it out. But it's a 2-year agreement. After about 3 or 4 months, I realized it wasn't going to work that well for me. And I'll explain why that is. And I want to make clear, I'm not making this video just to bash on a company because it didn't go my way or anything like that. That's not what this is about. This is literally buyer beware. And I'm going to tell you what you should be aware of and what you're actually paying for. So if you're looking in here, you've got AEC Professional Industrial Services. These are their main categories, okay? There's divisions. They have 16 of them. Site construction, concrete, masonry, steel and metal, wood and plastic, thermal and moisture protection, doors and windows, finishes, specialties, equipment, furnishing, special construction, conveying systems, mechanical, electrical, right? Excuse me. So I have locksmithing, access control, and surveillance cameras. None of those are division in it, right? So right away, it's already, you got to find it. It's in one of those areas. So you got to kind of relate. So I circled doors because that's where the locksmiths are, in doors. And I circled electrical because that's where the surveillance cameras and access control are. So as you can tell already, it's kind of, those trades are already afterthoughts because they're kind of like subcategories under these main categories. The problem with this is, this is great because if you're a guy that's, if you're doing new construction or renovating, you just come in here, I need somebody. You don't even have to go to this. You can do it online through their whole portal. And that's where they do it. They go through there and they say, here's the plans for the whole building. Quote it on it. Here's our email. Let us know what you need details. So the problem is is that every single one of those those projects that come up are usually new construction or renovating. And for what we do, cameras, access control, locksmithing, we need details with the end user in order to give an accurate quote. Problem is with every project, and I mean just about every single project you get through here, is going to be, they've sent it to 3 or 4 people. They have very little knowing of what they even are planning to do yet until they get that point. You basically know a camera's going there, 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 and there. You don't know what kind of cameras. There might be a little bit of a description on it. You don't know what it's mounting on. You don't know any of that stuff because it's, first of all, it's not even built, so you can't even go scout it. And they're wanting to get prices on this stuff like before it's built sometimes, before they even get approval to do them. So most of the projects you get, they haven't even won them yet. So these are things I found out later. So you can go make all these phone calls and emails and say, I looked over all these plans, and print all these plans out and be like, okay, well, I know you want cameras in these 10 places, but what kind of cameras do you want? What's the ceiling gonna look like? What's this like that? Oh, I don't know that information. Or we haven't even won the job yet. We just need a rough estimate. So it's like, if I just give you a rough estimate, okay, 10 cameras, around this much money, here you go. Like that's kind of what they were wanting for our trade specific stuff. Because they're not wanting us to sell them all the levers and door hardware for all the doors because we charge too much. They want to get the builder price, right? So that's all in place before we ever get in there. So unless you're like a wholesaler doing it, doing these, then it's not really worth it to the regular locksmith. Now, like the security cameras and access control, for instance, they may say, oh, they want a reader on that door, and this door, and this door, and give me a quote for it. And all they know is the doors, how many doors they want. And it's like, well, I don't know what hardware I have to put on those doors. I don't know what type of doors those are. I don't know if it's left-handed, right-handed door, in-swing, out-swinging door. I don't know what features they want from what kind of systems. All these different variables, and you don't get any answers to those because access control is more of an end-user thing. So maybe after the project's done and they're like, well, we wanted it pre-wired for it. Maybe they wanted it pre-wired for it, but they don't have any clear instructions on what they actually wanted because the customer's not involved with it. So the problem that I'm having specifically that I've had with it, I have won 0 jobs in almost 2 years of this. 0. Complete waste of money. Nothing. I couldn't even get one. I've quoted many, and it's just a waste because they're mostly like, oh, I think we're going to get this big. Can you just give me a rough estimate? We'll get back to you. Yeah, with this and this should be about this much. Cool. Never hear from them again because they just needed to get it in there to get all their numbers in line, to get their budget approved. So the problem with this is that they don't have enough information usually. So for access control, you're just blindly quoting with very general instructions on what to do. So it's very hard to win jobs if you're not giving accurate quotes and you're not filling a need because you don't know what the need is really. You just know that they need access control on that door, right? And then you have to go sifting through all these plans, and they're every plan imaginable. And they may be like, look in section 13.16.2 things for instructions. And you're going through all these things, you're looking for things, and it just says reader. And you're like, okay, like what do I need? Make a phone call. What do they mean by reader? Do they want like phone entry? Do they want badge reader? Do they want code? I don't know. Just quote it for what you think. So that's what happened. So I would say if you're in the locksmith industry, first of all, they're going to put you in the door section. So when they put you in the door section, which is 173, let's look at that real quick. So they put you in the door section. You have access doors, which is access control area. But I'm going to go to a locksmith right here. Here we are. So if you go under locksmiths, there's a 1, 2, 3 locksmiths in there. The rest of them that's a hardware supplier, and there's a little listings in here for 2 other ones, but just those are little simple little listings. But there's only really 1, 2, 3, including us, locksmiths in there because there would be a lot more if it worked. I'll put it that way. The problem is that if you're not willing to dig through blueprints and make phone calls and emails, I mean a lot of it too, and really hone these people and invest a lot of time into getting just a quote for a project that they may not even win, right? If you're not willing to do all that, then this isn't for you, because that's what it is basically, it's a database that you can dig through and sift through and try to drum up business on, but it takes so much more time. I think it's better served elsewhere looking for leads, to tell you the truth. So there's not a lot of locksmiths in here, so it's not like I was fighting a lot of competition, but I'm still having a hard time actually being seen. So I wouldn't recommend it for surveillance, for access control, or locksmiths. It's just too general because you don't know what to quote, and they don't know what to tell you to quote. They just know specifics. So, and sometimes they'll be like, I need this specific, and it's like all a specific brand of everything. And you're like, well, I don't even sell those products. And it's like, so then you call them, well, can I do alternatives? No, you got to use the whatever the spec is. Well, so half the leads are spec'd out to something maybe you don't even use. And then on top of it, a lot of the jobs that are in there are government jobs or projects that you have to already have all those kind of connections made with to even be able to bid on those. And you have to have like special insurances and stuff to bid on that. So for the locksmiths, the bottom line here is, I think the book works really well for people that are in construction, like literally in construction and getting in there and being part of it. You know, for locksmiths, I think it's a waste of money. For access control and CCTV, probably a little bit better, but I was still having, I didn't get a single job out of it. And I'm a hustler, so, and I tried hustling. So anyway, and to tell you the story a little bit about what happened, after about 6 months, I'm like, hey man, listen, I'm not getting even people to call me back. I'm not getting anybody who wants to barely tell me anything. Nobody knows what to even quote them on. They're just like, give me a general idea. So he's like, oh, we could try some things here, do this and this, and come over and try to show me how to do more things. Try those things, no difference, right? So then after it was like 8 months, 10 months, I said, hey, listen, I signed a 2-year agreement with you. I'm not getting anything from it, absolutely nothing. This isn't a good fit. Can you let me go after a year? You know, or work a deal with me, let me out a little early. I'm just wasting money. I'm literally just paying you money. I'm not even looking at it anymore. I'm not getting called from my rep anymore. He knows I don't like it. What can you do for me? After like 4 months of going back and forth, emails, back and forth, because it would take them a week, 2 weeks to get back to me every single time. They were like, no, we're not going to let you out of your contract. And I was like, okay. So I even told them before that, I said, listen. I was like, I'm on a board of directors for the Chamber of Commerce. You know, I talked to a lot of people in businesses. Just do me a solid. Let me out of the contract. I won't tell anybody anything bad about your stuff. I'll let you do your business. Just treat me fair. I'm just wasting money. They wouldn't do it. Said, nope, sticking to it. So fine. I'm paying it still. Got a couple more months and then I'll be done. Anyway, so if you do get in a contract, they're not letting you out either, even if you get 0 results. To me, it wasn't presented correctly. It's a lot of work to get in here and quote these jobs, which makes sense for, you know, contractors and people that do that kind of work. But it doesn't make sense to me for locksmiths. Maybe surveillance, if you're in with the builders and they have a special time equipment and you sell all that equipment and they know exactly what you're doing every time, maybe then. But I would stay away from it if you're in the security trade, because most of the decisions on cameras are made by the end user, which you have no contact with the end user in here. There's no contact at all. And same with access control, and same with the locksmithing. Like, how do you want your building keyed? You know, do you want keypad? Do you want locks on your, keypads on these doors, or what do you want? Oh, we don't know. That's the end user. All the locks just come with keys. They're just hanging in the locks when we get done with them, and then we figure it out later. Well, it's like, okay, well then that's no different. You're just going to call a locksmith at the very end, you know? So, buyer beware. If you're in our trade, the security trade, I would not invest into this. I believe it's just not fit for our particular trade. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the support as always. Hopefully you like this this new little series. We got another one for you coming soon. We'll probably record in a couple weeks. Don't forget, we have 2 other YouTube channels, Guardian Safe and Lock and Udropreneur. And of course this one, Guardian Approved. But thanks for tuning in. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media platforms. We appreciate the support as always.